Hey everybody, welcome back to another diecast review. You can probably guess what this is. It's not even a diecast review, this is a rant. A big, stinky rant. So look at the cars in front of me and you'll probably notice a theme here. Chicagoland, which will be ignored by the Cup Series, and the the Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series, and ARCA, and IndyCar. You get my point. Nothing is going on at the Chicagoland Speedway. I didn't get to go in 2019 because it was going to rain and the tickets were outrageously priced, so that hurt. But then 2020, they canceled them for COVID, and now we won't be going back. So let's go into what the rumors are and what it's for. There's a bunch of rumors to go through. It's going to be quite the mess. Let's just leave it at that. So, part one, Chicagoland, gone, off the schedule. Rumor is it is being replaced with Road America. I like it. However, I would like to see them announce a routine, or what do you call it, a rotation between Chicagoland and another Midwest track. I think that the part that I'm so frustrated with NASCAR is we don't know if Chicago will ever see a race again. And instead of putting all the panic in, it would be very simple to just say, we're going to put it on a rotation. We'll have them in 2022, or we'll have Chicago rotating with Iowa or Kansas or some other Midwest track on a rotation so that us Midwesterners don't lose an extra race. Look, I don't think you realize, you guys out east are really, really spoiled. You got tracks really close to you a lot of the times. Where I live, Iowa is a 3-hour drive, no races this year, and by the look of it, no races next year. Kansas is 6 hours. Chicagoland doesn't exist now, 6 hours. Road America is 7 hours. Bristol is 15 hours. Kentucky, which is no longer on the schedule, we'll get into that too, 13 hours. So you get my point. There are no tracks near us, and so it's very frustrating when one of the two options we had for Cup racing disappears. Now, don't get me wrong, Road America has now opened up as an option, which is a beautiful course, but they have no announcement for if Chicago can come back or if it can host some type of race weekend. And it's just frustrating. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Like, why? Why can't you just put a little something for the fans in that area? Now, I understand Chicago, honestly, not a great design. Not the track itself, good racing. It actually is. The progressive banking puts a good show on. But what I mean by a bad design is the parking, the roads around it, not good. Not good. Bad track from that standpoint. But again, my point is not about the track and the facility itself. That can all be worked on a little bit. Some of it's unchangeable at this point. But my point is more, they're hurting the Midwest market. Now, again, Road America is fairly close, so they'll still be able to get away with it. But you've lost the city of Chicago now. And, I'm not a huge fan of the move. I understand it, but look, let's all be honest here. If we could pick a mile and a half to sacrifice, it's going to be Kentucky and it's going to be Texas. Nobody hates Chicago. From what I gather, Chicago is like a top 2 or 3 on the mile and a half circuit. The top 4 is pretty consistently Kansas, Homestead, Atlanta, Kansas, and Chicago. Those are the 4. Vegas is like in 5th, and it depends on if it's day or night, honestly. But those are kind of the 4 favorites. The rest, meh. So yeah, I mean, Charlotte's always going to have its home races and things like that, and they've got the Roval. Great. They've got something to go for it. But as I said, I hate losing Midwest races. I really do. I think it's a real bummer when we do lose our races because, like I said, we're a long ways away from anything else. So yeah, Chicago is off the schedule. Also, Kentucky, goodbye. You guys got no more races. Have fun driving to Bristol now, I guess, or I don't even know where your other close track would be. Probably Talladega, Atlanta, somewhere down there, a little further south. But I mean, you guys, maybe you're closer to Austin, Texas than I realized. But you guys are losing races too, and I think that hurts for your region because look, here's what they did: they gave Atlanta a second race at the expense of the only Kentucky race. Now I understand Kentucky had some issues getting started up. It's in a really bad location, some things like that. It's a shame, but let's be real here. Nobody's going to miss the racing on the track because the track would produce terrible racing. All 3 series was garbage. Because they did a repave in the worst way possible, they literally killed any opportunity that track had. So again, I'm sorry to Kentucky fans because I understand how frustrating it is to lose your home track, but at the same time, that one, the racing wasn't any good on anyway. I'm not trying to be mean in that way, but let's face it, the racing at Chicago, I mean, the racing had been great. I mean, 16 was great. 17 was okay, solid race. 18 was amazing. That was one of the best races of all time on a mile and a half. 19 was great. Bowman getting his win. I wasn't there, but I mean, good grief, it looked great. So Chicago will be missed. I mean, that is a good, solid racetrack. And, the racing part. And as I said, Kentucky, unfortunately, the racing part wasn't good. I hear their actual track is not as bad. As I said, Chicago's got terrible exiting. There's only like 2 two-lane roads, and so it ends up with a traffic jam. And I've heard Kentucky's the same way. Just a total mess trying to get out of there. But my point is just simply that, we definitely need to be more wary of losing dates at one race tracks to give them to Atlanta. I mean, I understand why Texas didn't lose a race. Their promoter's a very stern and individual trying to keep his races, as he should. But let's get real here. Why did Vegas need 2 races? I understand it's a good track, but at the expense of Kentucky, some of that kind of stuff. So a little frustrating there. Now here's the other one. And this one is, let me get on another rant because I'm not done yet. Bristol will be covered in dirt for a race next spring. Now, here's the good thing. It's the spring race. The spring race has kind of been tough, and the attendance hasn't been great. Here's the bad thing. It's the spring race. It's always wet. How's that going to work with dirt? I'm just going to be a little bit on that side because, after all, we've had 3 rainouts in the last 5 years. So I think that might be worth looking at. But, how's that going to work with dirt? But even if not, my entire issue with this thing is that the 2020 Spring Bristol race was the highest rated poll as far as a good race for Jeff Gluck. The highest ever was 2020 Bristol Spring. So why are we fixing what isn't broken? I understand we wanted to be on dirt and there's some Fox stuff in there, but Bristol was not the problem. Richmond was a problem. And the reason I'm kind of frustrated is because, they said they got the track and everything waiting. Look, we have Knoxville in Iowa, 20 minutes south of Newton. And I understand it's not near as big as Bristol. However, we have history at the Knoxville Speedway. It's big enough to actually handle some of this stuff. And it's frankly it's a facility that holds the Nationals. It can handle a crowd. I'm not saying it's worthy of a cup race, but I'm saying it is a big facility that knows how to handle an influx of people. So I don't understand the Bristol part of it because, again, Bristol wasn't broken. I mean, the Bristol racing has been great. So I really don't like the move there. Now, don't get me wrong. Am I going to watch? Absolutely, I'm going to watch. But Bristol was not a broken issue. I don't like fixing Bristol when Bristol's fine. Don't touch it. Maybe getting the Outlaws there could be fun and stuff like that. I just think don't fix what isn't broken. So that was a rumor, and then obviously Road America. I kind of like that move. I just wish we would have more of a rotation. As I said, I think Iowa and Gateway could split races. One year, one the other year. So one will have something with maybe an IndyCar. I think they both have IndyCar races, but one gets an IndyCar doubleheader while the other one gets a Cup race. Then they flip flop and they just go back and forth. But by the sounds of it, I don't think we're going to get racing again next year. So another bummer. But that's just it's one of those things that I think NASCAR, they're making a lot of moves. I just wish they would have looked at them a little closer. Because races like Nashville, fingers crossed, they rip the spoilers and splitters off so at least they can race, because that race is going to be awful without PJ1. Even with it, it might be terrible. And then, as I said, changing Bristol, that's just unnecessary. Putting a second Atlanta race in with this package? No. Rip again. There's a few requests I hope NASCAR looks at, but it's going to the low horsepower, low downforce, high horsepower packages on tracks like Homestead, Atlanta, and Darlington. Those 3 suck with the high spoiler. We need the low spoiler back. So let me know your thoughts on all this. As I said, I ranted for 10 full minutes, so put it in the comments below. Chicago losing a race, and Atlanta gaining one, and Road America. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. This has been Race Craze, and we'll see you in the next Diecast Review.